When is Hollywood gonna learn it's really distracting to cast people in their late 20s to play high schoolers after they've already played adults in multiple other films? So in Monster Trucks, an evil oil company is drilling for oil and accidentally uncovers a community of monsters underground. They of course want to kill all these monsters and cover it all up so they can keep drilling for oil and make lots of money. When one of the monsters gets loose, it discovers a high school boy who happens to be 27 years old, and the monster discovers it can drive a truck, which leads to our movie. So let's be clear, this movie was made by Nickelodeon for middle school boys, and it does an okay job at what it's supposed to do. It's kind of fun, it's kind of amusing, it's got kind of a fun idea to it, but nothing is executed to the level to which it should be executed. So let's talk about the good. First off, the monster actually looks great. So whoever's working on this Han Solo Star Wars movie, if Jabba the Hutt is supposed to appear in that film, look at what they're doing for this creature, because this creature looks real. It moves and it works and it doesn't look CGI, so I'm not sure if it was CGI or prop or some mix of the both, but it looks great. Second thing to talk about is the movie actually has a pretty great supporting cast. So you got Rob Lowe as the main villain, you've got Holly from The Office playing the guy's mother, Danny Glover plays like a guy that owns a mechanic shop where the teenage boy that's 27 works, and Jane Levy from Don't Breathe as well as Evil Dead is the, I guess she's more of the star, but kind of co-lead person in it. And so there's a lot of charm in a lot of the actors in it that makes it enjoyable along the way. But that's kind of all the positives I can say. It's not that there's a bunch of terrible negatives. It's not that it totally bombs. It's kind of fun. It's got the right vibe to it, but it's just not great. So talking about the bad side to it, just overall, the basic story of it feels an awful lot like some guys in a boardroom went, all right, we want to put out a movie that we think like 12-year-old boys will like. What do they like? Monster trucks. Oh, that's good. Like a movie about monster truck rallies. Like, no, what? I'm gonna blow your mind, guys. What if there's a monster in the truck? Oh man, yeah, is that funny? Yeah. Monster in the truck. Yeah, you like that. My daughter's right here. And so that's kind of what the movie feels like. And then they took that, threw it to some screenwriter. He writes a first draft and they just go with it. And the reason it feels like a first draft is because it has the problems that a lot of movies that are just kind of rushed through production without love and care feel like. So like in the story, there's a whole plot line about the lead guy having a dad that left the family. And this plays in the first act, it plays in the second act, and then it's done. And it plays in the first act really just to set up the second act, and there's no real conclusion to it. There's no satisfactory moment, anything. It's just kind of like, this happens. Oh, this happens. Poof, it's done. And it's left out, and it's abandoned, and we don't talk about it anymore. And while I said that the cast is great, it's really weird. Danny Glover's in like 2.5 scenes. He's got maybe like 4 lines of dialogue. Holly from The Office is in 1.5 scenes. She has dialogue in the first one. She doesn't appear then for an hour and 15 minutes, and then she just like appears at the end. So why was she cast in this role? Rob Lowe's role, he's very significant. You see him throughout the whole movie. So it's very, very odd. And then maybe one of the biggest problems with this film is the lead actor guy. I don't understand why they cast him. Because, first off, he's in his late 20s, so he's not a high schooler, and it's not like he looks like he's in high school. He looks like a 26-year-old. Period. He just looks 26 years old, and he's not very charismatic, and he's not funny, and it's not like he's just this gorgeous-looking guy. He's just a pretty good, decent actor that doesn't look like he could be a dad. That's it. So I don't know why they cast him in this movie, because he's kind of leading the whole thing and driving the whole thing, and he doesn't have like a charisma or charm to him, and the character as written is awful. Like, he's not likable at all. Throughout the movie, Jane Levy, the girl from Don't Breathe, is chasing him around, really interested in him, trying to like get him to like her. And she's kind of fun, kind of quirky, really smart, and she looks a lot like Jane Levy, and that means she's really attractive, and he has no interest in her at all. The whole movie, like up until like the very end, he's just like shrugging off her like interest in him. And there's no reason for it. He's just an unpleasant, unlikable guy played by a non-charismatic actor, which, when he's the driving force to the movie, makes it not work all that great. So anyway, while I say all that, I have mostly negative things to say. It's really a harmless film. There's nothing really awful about it. There's not a lot of creativity to it, but it's a series of well-crafted, kind of vanilla car monster truck sequences that kind of work, with a lead guy that's not very charismatic, with a good supporting cast, which all in all makes for an okay movie experience. If you're the target audience, you'll have an okay time. This seems like the type of movie that if you were the right age for it, you'd really like it at this age. By high school, you'd never watch it again. And then when you're 25, you're like, oh, monster trucks. I remember loving monster trucks. Let's put it on. And you'd be like, this isn't nearly as good as I remembered it being, but it's not totally dreadful. All in all, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's harmless entertainment that's not all that great. It's just kind of meh. And if it's on, you're not going to feel bored out of your mind. You're not going to hate it. There aren't gigantic, just mind-blowing problems. It's just entertainment. It's totally meh. If I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind rewatching it again. I wouldn't rush out to do it. It'll work for the target audience, but it's not in any way something that transcends its target audience. How about you? Have you seen Monster Trucks? Given the box office results, the answer to that is probably no. So tell me what you think in the comment section, or why did you not go see this movie? It's probably because you're not a 12-year-old boy. So with all that said, if you're new to my channel and you never click that subscribe button, please consider clicking that subscribe button. During the work week, I do a daily movie news roundup where I talk about the daily movie news. I also do a live show on Sundays, as well as 3 or 4 reviews during the week, because I don't want to just talk about movies. I want to talk about movies with you. Let's join in the comment section, have a lively discussion about this movie, which is very unlikely because not very many people saw it, so I don't even know who's watching this video. But with all that said, thank you for watching.